Hello and welcome to today's episode, which is selection of export production. It is really an interesting topic and I'm sure you would find it useful. The best way of select is to answer many basic questions. Thus, you will see that you will be discussing many questions in this chapter. Students, let's start with basic and understand some terms before moving to the concept. What is export? An export is a function of international trade whereby goods produced in one country are shipped to another country for future sales or trade. The sales of such goods adds to the producing nation's gross output. What is selection? The act of choosing something or someone from a group. What is production? The action of making or manufacturing from components or raw material or the process of being so manufactured. Or it could be provision of something for consideration, inspection or use. Before we go any further, allow me to give you a quick introduction about myself. I am Pallavi Mohan, working since last 18 years, both nationally and internationally. Worked in 5 countries and studied in 3 countries. Have held leadership positions in the field of marketing, retail, operations, PR and communications. Recent assignment was with Samsung Electronics as marketing professional. Students, let's start with understanding some important criteria for product selection for exports. An entrepreneur should select the right product for export because selection of the right export product is crucial for the success in export business. The selection can be made on the basis of consideration of various factors. Some of these factors are explained below. Trends in exports. An entrepreneur who plans to enter into exports can identify the product group with potential in foreign markets by analyzing the trends in exports country-wise and commodity-wise. Over a period of time. A study of the trends over a period of 5 years is expected to yield very useful information. The Ministry of Commerce, based on the analysis of the trends in exports, had also prepared a matrix of 15 countries and products. Production capacity and product availability. The exporter should choose these products for which there is adequate production capacity in the country and the products can be sourced for the desired quantities. Thus, a steady supply base is essential to ensure that the exporter is able to deliver the goods to the foreign buyers as per the agreed delivery time schedules. Third, product adaptability. A product may have huge potential for export in one market, yet the same product offered in another market may draw a blank. The reason for this is very simple. The physical conditions, functional requirements, cultural factors, tastes, levels of skill and levels of technical development may be different and as such would require the changes to be made in the product offered in another market. The product to be successful in foreign markets must be capable of the suitable changes in its design, color, size, taste, packaging, etc. This process of change is known as product adaptation. Thus, product adaptability is an important consideration in the selection of the product for export. Fourth, demand in the potential export market. The level of demand for a product in the target export market is an important factor in the selection of the product for export. The potential of the product in a market can be assessed by considering the impact of the following dimensions. First, demographics and physical environment. The impact of the demographics and the physical environment can be analyzed by considering the following factors. A. Size of the population, its growth and density levels. B. Distribution of the population by targeted age groups for the product under analysis, example 1 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30 and so on. Is the size of the target population adequate? C. Distribution of the population by urban, suburban and rural areas. D. Climate and weather conditions. How will these changes affect the product or the service offered? E. Shipping distances from the point of export. F. Nature of the transport and telecommunication infrastructure. G. Adequacy of the shipping, packaging, unloading and other local distribution networks. Second point, political environment. The political environment should be analyzed by considering the following factors. Is the system of government conducive to the conduct of business? B. What is extent of government involvement in the private business transactions? C. What is government's attitude towards imports? D. Is the political system stable? E. Does the government seek to dismantle quotas and other trade barriers? F. Is the country committed to fostering higher levels of exports and imports? The third point, economic environment. The exporter should analyze the economic environment of the potential market by considering the following factors. A. Predicted economic growth levels. B. Gross national product and the balance of payment position of the country. C. Percentages share of exports and imports in overall economy. D. The country's import to export ratio. E. Rate of inflation and foreign currency or the exchange regulations. F. What is the per capita income of the target country? Is it increasing? G. What is the discretionary income spent on the consumer goods? The fourth point, social and cultural environment. Socio-cultural environment of a country affects the demand pattern of people in the country. An understanding of the factors influencing this environment helps in assessing the potential of a product and the likely changes that need to be made to make the product compatible with the socio-culture environment of the country. Some of these factors are as follows. A. What is the proportion of the literate population? B. What is the average educational level of the people? C. What is the percentage of the population identified as middle class? D. Is the target market similar to the home market in terms of its characteristics? E. Would the product require any modification or adaptation or translation? Fifth point, market access. An exporter can target a country for exports to the extent of market access available in the foreign market. The following factors define the level of market access for a product in a country. A. Legal aspects of the distributorship in the foreign market. B. What are the documentary requirements and technical or environmental import regulations covering the product? C. Is the market closed to foreigners despite the emergence of a free and open market? D. What intellectual property protection laws would affect the product or the service? E. If a commercial dispute arises, does the judicial system offer a fair and unbiased review? F. Are the tax laws fair to foreign investors? What is the rate of tax on repatriated profits? Sixth, product potential. The potential of a product in a foreign market should be assessed from the point of view of acceptance of the product in the foreign market. The following factors should be examined to assess the acceptance level of the products in the foreign market? These are: A. Is there an identified need for the product in the target market? B. What is the gap between production and anticipated consumption? To what extent the gap is being filled by the imports? What is the percentage of imports to the total demand of the products? C. Is the product or the service understood and accepted by the target markets? D. What is the general level of acceptance of imported products in the foreign markets? E. What is the state of competition in the foreign markets for the product? Who are the competing exporters and from which countries? Fifth, trade restrictions. A country may impose restrictions on the import of products from other countries in the form of licensing or other quantitative restrictions. However, countries have agreed not to impose quantitative restrictions on imports. There is a commitment by all the WTO member countries to follow open and liberal trade policies. Yet, it has been observed that the countries have started imposing restrictions on imports in the form of certain regulations aimed at protecting environment, child labor, public health, public safety, and so on. Even the countries are resorting to the use of anti-dumping duties or the countervailing duties or the safeguard duties to protect their domestic industries. Such regulations or the tariffs measures have the effect of restricting imports into their countries. An exporter should find out whether such restrictions are applicable to the proposed product for export in the target market. Sixth, incentives, facilities offered for export. It is quite possible that the exporting countries offer various incentives or facilities to promote the exports. In India, exporters enjoy various facilities in general and for particular products. These incentives relate to the duty drawbacks, facility of duty-free import of raw materials and other inputs required for the manufactures of the export products. Import of capital goods for the promotion of exports at concession rates of import duties. Such incentives, facilities should be taken into account while deciding the product for exports. Seventh point, shifting spending patterns. Basic determinants of how much a consumer buys of a product are a person's taste and preference as well as the price of the product relative to the price of other products. Another major influence in the consumer's income. If the consumer's income increases, demand for most goods will rise. However, the demand for goods that people regard as necessities such as fuel, tobacco, bread or meat tends to decline, and exporters of such products are not likely to greatly benefit from rising consumer incomes in other countries. The demand for luxuries such as new cars or expensive food expand more rapidly. Therefore, exporters should generally put more emphasis on goods that consumers regard as luxuries due to shifting spending patterns in response to rising incomes. Eighth point, quality and niche marketing. Several studies on export-import trade indicate that firms that have shown a sustained increase in their sales and overall profits have often emphasized quality and concentrated on niches. In this age of diversity, markets are being awakened to the erosion of the mass market. Traditional marketing methods are no longer as effective as they used to be, and a new emphasis on quality and niche marketing is proving to be successful. Even after the elimination of textile quotas in 2005, many European textile producers have maintained steady growth in their exports because of their emphasis on high fashion items with specific brand identity. Planning to export, choosing an export market. Market research is the key to reducing the degree of risk involved in selling into a new market. Before you begin any detailed market research, you need to shortlist 4 or 5 of the most promising markets. You might do this initially on the basis of your own, your colleagues, or professional export advisors' knowledge of overseas markets. You should also ask yourself, do I really want to do the business there? Remember that if your export drive is successful, you are likely to spend a significant amount of time in that country. Typically, first-time exporters are encouraged to look close to home for potential markets, and in particular at the markets of the European Union. In most cases, this is sound advice. The most important area of the Union is the so-called triangle, the area bordered by Paris, Cologne and Liverpool, which represents over 3/5 of its population and wealth. The countries include are Belgium, France, Germany, Luxembourg and Netherlands. These countries are traditionally the best export markets for the UK firms. Consider your first step in exporting as a test market exercise where you can limit your risk and iron out any problem which might arise relatively quickly and cheaply and without destroying relationships with your customers. Choosing the markets you will target first means taking into account a number of factors, including assessing the effect of something going wrong. One specific market. Your objective should be to narrow down your choice to one specific market. When you finally make your choice, you will need to take into account some broad considerations. Research is the key to help you select your target market. In thinking about which country to choose, there are some common issues to consider. Are there any barriers to trading with this country areas? These may be both overt and hidden and range from political sanctions and civil war to poor internal transport systems. What is the general market potential of the area? Who are the main customers for your type of product or service? Who will your major competition be? Are there any gaps in the market which you feel you could supply? Obtain a brief outline of the trade channel which operate or are available in this country and how you can assess them. Will they impose any limitations on your strategy? Producing listing like this will help you to make comparisons between different areas and may clarify your initial thoughts. The type of information that you will need should be readily available through export journals and organizations which publish country features and reports on new markets. Enlist the help of your local business library to find back copies of such features. Importantly, talk to the people around you, including those in your own business, in other business and who may have some knowledge of a particular country. You can begin to grade potential markets in terms of suitability, potential and ease of entry. This should provide you with a second list compiled from the most favorable choices of the first. You can now investigate these in more details, looking at such things as sales of similar and related products, local production, competition, locally and from other imports, and who typically buy these products. Many sources of help are available and there are several organizations which can provide statistics and general advice about world markets. Finalizing your choice. You have been encouraged to think in terms of targeting a single export opportunity. You should also now be more aware of the kinds of opportunities that might present themselves to you. The time will come when you will need to finalize your choice in terms of the product or service you intend to sell and the market you intend to sell into. You will find it useful to ask yourself, what could I export, as well as conferring benefits on customers. You will need to identify and promote unique selling point for your product or service in your chosen export market. When considering what you can export, you should aim to answer the following questions. First, what are your customer needs? Second, how will you fulfill their needs? Third, what is about your product or service that is unique? Fourth, what will encourage customers to buy from you rather than from your competitors? Fifth, where is my target market? Draw up a short list of potential export markets and prepare a thumbnail sketch of each one. For each market you choose, and there should be no more than 4 or 5, you should aim to cover the following questions. Is my product or service likely to offer sufficient benefits to potential customers? Will I be able to offer service and support to customers in that market? Who are the competitions? What pricing policy does the competition operate? Is the market static, growing, or declining? Do I really want to do business there? You might find it useful to make a list of advantages and disadvantages on market overview sheets. Selecting export markets require a balanced criteria and sound research. Students, although we will have a separate episode on it, we will still cover it from a selection of export purpose point of view. Exports are increasingly becoming more important to the success of both our economy and individual companies. And if you are responsible for any international activity, chances are your company's success at exporting will impact your job performance and value in your organization. Consequently, identifying, assessing and choosing the right foreign markets to pursue can result in your company exceeding its profit expectations. However, selecting the wrong markets can result in great expense and frustration. To make your job easier, consider the following factors. Study economic indicators. Rank the potential countries' markets by dollar value of your product they import from the United States. Data needed is available from the US Department of Commerce. Then rank each market by its total demand, domestic production plus world imports, for the previous 3 years. This will determine each country's market size, its rate of growth, US market share, and whether that is increasing or decreasing. If total demand for your type of product is increasing, look at the country's rate of growth and per capita income. If indicators are positive, it's likely that your product demand will continue to rise. However, if these indicators are stagnant or down, it's likely that the growth in demand for your product will slow and may not provide the market potential you're looking for. Can you be competitive? Identify each selected market's trade barriers, tariffs, standard regulations, quotas, laboring requirements, etc. If excessive, these barriers may make your product too expensive and limit your exports. If manageable, investigate whether any vested interests can bar your product from the market. Importantly, know your competitors, products, prices, distribution, methods, commitment to after-sales service, and target consumers. If intense competition exists look to smaller markets which may be unattractive for multinationals but big enough for you. Consider currency strengths and risk. Importers from countries with soft currencies or insufficient reserves may find it difficult to pay you. Understand the risks, buy insurance, or choose other markets. Should you accept the importer's currency, guard against wide fluctuations and keep abreast of political risk. Should a military coup take place, a succeeding government may reverse policy. Should social turmoil envelop a nation, the disruption of activities could put you out of business. New governments have been known to reverse policy with regard to a whole range of investment and trade issues. Additionally, follow the political relationship between the United States and your target countries. Warmer political relations may allow US businesses greater access to foreign marketplace. Cooler relations obviously can have the opposite effect. Determine infrastructure needs. If your product requires a skilled support staff, make sure it's available in your target markets. If not, you may be forced to provide costly support from your home office. The lack of physical infrastructure may also curtail exports. For example, the inability to quickly deliver perishable dues to inoperable roads or inaccessibility to refrigerated storage can be a deterrent. The shipping cost of heavy merchandise to distant location may also prove too expensive. In this case, you may wish to consider licensing your technology. Understand the culture and adapt. Sensitivity to foreign culture is not only polite, it's good business. Become familiar with your customers' culture and study their tastes. If your products and designs don't suit them, make changes or consider going elsewhere. Products not adapted to suit cultural preferences may not be accepted. For example, Mexican woman prefers bright splashy prints on swimsuits that may not sell well in the US. Furthermore, behavior considered friendly in one country may be considered offensive in another. And be aware that many foreigners believe that to be polite means having to agree with you, not always considering the ramifications of doing so. Investigate intellectual property protection and environmental laws. Many countries claim to enforce intellectual property laws but have a poor track record. If you sell software, investigate how piracy is handled. If protection isn't priority, you may want to avoid this market. Environmental standards greatly differ from country to country. Certain machinery may not meet stringent foreign environmental pollution standards, which could prevent product importation. On the other hand, some developing countries may not provide adequate facilities to treat or store toxic byproducts generated by a manufactured process, which could create a serious health risk and legal problems. Understand the legal system. In some countries, the accused is presumed guilty until proven innocent, and judges may unfairly favor domestic sales agent terminated over poor performance or consumers who are injured by the inappropriate use of product. One of the most pressing issues in doing business abroad is the lack of civil, commercial and criminal codes. And confusing and burdensome bureaucratic requirements can tie up valuable time. That's why you must carefully assess each country's laws and practice and determine if you wish to expose your company to them. How many markets should I pursue? Depending on your company's level of resources, objectives and product competitiveness, the number of foreign markets to target simultaneously and the selection process used to determine what markets to pursue will differ considerably. If your company is new to international trade and your staff and the level of resources allocated to the pursuing exports are limited, it may be wise to focus on fewer foreign markets. This will prevent spreading your resources too thin. Determine the criteria right for you. Based on your products or service, export market consideration will differ. Understanding these differences will help you pursue the markets with the highest returns and the least risks. That is all for today. Hope you have understood. We'll see you again with the next topic. Till then, take care. Bye.